All right, ladies and gents, we're back at it. Everything you've seen up to this point was last weekend, so we're firing things up again now. So I'm gonna get back to heating it up. All right, this heat gun does a really nice job of heating that up. You can even smell the paint starting to burn, and it's a gentler heat. It spreads out wider, so should be nice. So we're going to use the I'm going to call this the pipe dolly to fix this depression right here.
Now let's go somewhere. All right, we're getting there now.
Okay, getting there, yeah, nice. Okay, I'm not going to overdo it though. I'm going to work on the inside a bit, try to bring this out. Here you can see, just how deep that dip is right there. Give you a little better angle right here. And now it's a lot easier to see. There's a ridge or a kink right there. The depression is right here, of course. So I'm going to work that from the inside. And then from the inside, you can see how it's a bulge right here. So I want to bring this down to the same contours as back here. And that should start pushing this forward a bit more, because that's, that dip there or hump on this side effectively, turns that into a shrink, so pulling the front of the fender back. So I'm going to start that. And I'm going to use, I have a couple of different dollies. I call this my anvil dolly. I got two of them. One's a little narrower than this one with more contour to it, but this one looks like it's got the right curve that I'm looking for. Actually, either one of these. So I've warmed it up, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be working this dip from the perimeter back towards the inside. If I try to work from the inside initially, I'm just going to create more, more dimples and stuff like that. So my use of the anvil here is going to be a little unconventional. I'm actually going to use the anvil as the hammer. So here we go. And that's working rather well. There's a bit of a swell right there. That down, but that looks a whole lot better. It's gonna need some fine tuning, of course. Yeah, there's a bump there. Yeah, it's a bit of a minefield of dips and bumps, but I'm gonna work it all out. So now I'm checking on some of the alignments. One of the things that we probably cited earlier in this series was that this was actually bent up right here. So it was a bit of a curve. It was curved up right here. So the alignment, I want to check on that to see how we're progressing. Is I'll put a straight edge there, and you can see that it's in alignment with the joint between the fender skirt and the fender itself, and you can see that there's almost no gap there. It's like maybe a 1/16 of an inch, so we're going in the right direction. And one of the things I noticed too is that of course on the tensioner, this is not the bolt holes aren't vertical yet, so what I want to do is I'm going to undo the bolt on the bottom, which is pulling on this right here. And for the next bit of work, I only want it to pull right here so that this can come out right here. This can come out. So now I've got I've got the bottom bolt removed, so it's only pulling right here. The tensioner is just pulling on this section here. I don't want to pull this out anymore because otherwise it's going to start, you know, bending it out that way. But if we take stock of like the damage that remains, there's a dip right here, and there's a bump right here, and there's a bit of a swell right there. I'm not immediately concerned about that until I get this pulled forward and a little more straightened out. So I'm going to work on that. Okay, so now you're on the inside of the fender, and if I look at this dent that I was talking about around the front, it's actually a bulge right here, and it's kind of a weird space to work inside of. So looking at the different dollies, I've come up with using the heel dolly because it's gonna both fit in this corner here and also provide you know, an edge that I can use to tap on that. So I'm not going to do that with the camera just sitting inside the fender so it doesn't fall on the floor, but I'll put you back on the stand. All right, so I had to go find another piece of pipe, a smaller diameter, to fit inside this curve here so that I can take this bulge out right there. So that's what we're going to hit right now. Now I've already heated this, of course.
That's pretty tough, that one. I hit it rather hard. Still there.
That's better. I'm not going to get carried away with it just yet, though, because there's other ones that I got to work on here as well. Let me put weight behind that. All right, let's see. It's better. Now this one here, gonna take some more heat. Let me do that and I'll get on that. So let's do some pounding. Now I'm going to use this dolly with the same curvatures that I'm looking for in the fender. Now this is the one spot, because that's such a sharp bend right there, where I'm actually going to have the dolly immediately behind, because I'm trying to flatten that out. You hear that double slap? That's because I'm directly hitting the dolly and it's bouncing. All right, still got a bump right there, but there's also a dip right there, which I need to take care of from the inside. It's a little better. This one is still pretty strong, but some of that is a dip, like right there. Another one right there that I need to take out from the inside. So I did some sanding here to make it easier to see, you know, on this side, of course, there are bumps, but the dips that I was talking about on the outside. So here's that long crease that was in there. The fender got jammed up in. There's another dip there, and there's a dip right there too. So I'm going to take those out. All right, so here we go. So I'm using my anvil dolly. I'm calling it that. And I'm going to use it this way to follow the curve that's on the outside. Now this is the one spot where I'm going to want the dolly directly behind me, because you see how tight that is. I need to be able to work that down. So here we go.
Hitting the camera. Hang on. Let me move you back. Oh, that was nice. That one looked nice.
So this is where the stress in the metal is actually helping. Because as I tap these down, the surrounding area starts to sink too. And sink rather easily, which is nice. Oh, well, you know, GoPro says you can do whatever you want with this camera, and they'll replace it free. So, all right, what does she feel like over here? That's better. Still a dip right here, though. Right there. Feel that. Yeah, it's still there. I have to be careful about how much I work this area, because I'll wind up stretching it and creating other problems. So it looks like, actually, we have a bulge on the outside right there. So we're going to have to work that out too. Let's see. Now we got more work up here, right there. But this is really the wrong contour for that. I'm gonna have to figure something else out. I need more of actually a ball peen hammer might be the trick there. Let me see what I can find. Now I found something that should work well. This is just an old finishing nail hammer that I had, and I ground a little better face on it so that it has a little more contour to it. Now, that, of course, with a small hammer, I have to be more accurate. It really kind of depends on how accurate I am with my hits. Let's see. All right, let's see. What do they feel like on the outside? They're still there, but not as pronounced. Better. Still a bump right there. So there's a dip right here on the inside. It's a bump on the outside. So I'll have to go take care of that. There's a bump right here, which is a dip on the outside. A little better. Better. Okay. Let's feel it. Okay, there's still a swell on the outside there that I got to take care of. In fact, I'll go take care of it on the other side. Work a little bit on each side at a time. Now, after sanding this, gives me a better idea what we're working with. This right here. This looks like a dip, and it is, but it's it's something that we didn't sand on the backside, which on the backside would have been, a bump. Now, if I took this for a bump, I'd be mistaken. This bump out right here where it's sanded, what that really is just the very edge of that contour, right at the edge of that dip. So this isn't really a high spot like it looks like, because it's level with the rest of the fender. This is a dip right there, and then of course the bulk of the other damage was right there. This is going to take some some fine tuning, some because there's a lot of little dimples and and bumps and stuff right there. This is where the bulk of the damage from the collision was. So I guess what I really need to do is go back to the inside, sand that so I can see it more effectively, and work that down from the inside. Sanded this, as you can see right here. This is where that dip is on the outside, and of course the bump on this side. Ignore this because that's just part of the curve on the fender right there. So back to the dolly again. This time I'm not going to be immediately behind that. I'm going to be just offside a bit. You see it moving fairly easily, and junk is falling off. Alright, feel that on the other side. Not as pronounced. It's coming out. It's a little stronger right down here. That's better. We got a little tiny little bump right there on the outside where the edge of the hammer hit first. Don't want that, so I'm gonna have to work that out. Yeah, I'd focus more so on bringing this back inside. Right down here there's a bump on the outside, and it's deeper here, a little shallow right there. But you know, we're working on the minutia now, so that's good. We've made progress. What I wanted to do before I started working on the small stuff here was check the alignment of some things. Now I see that we've made good progress on bringing these closer to vertical, but they're not quite there. So what I did was I checked this on the other side to see if I could reveal where you know the work needs to happen. And it looks like we have a gap right here using the contour gauge. So what that effectively means that this is bent in right there slightly. And the other thing I noticed too is that the bottom part here is pushed out a bit. So really what needs to happen here is this needs to go like this. And that's what we're going to work on now. Now, time to be creative. So what I need to do is I need to bend this whole piece like this slightly, because this is pushed in here. So what I did was I used my contour gauge to get a contour of this, but you know, of course, on the other side. And then I cut a piece of wood to match like that. Now I had to put a slight bevel on it though, because it's not perfectly square. There's a curve right here that I have to accommodate. So this is going to fit in like so, and then I'm going to take my piece of pipe and a C-clamp, and I'm going to put that on there, stick the piece of pipe in there. This pipe has come in handy in a few cases here on this job. So now I tighten it. Actually, let me push this pipe further in so it balances better. There we go. Make sure this is good and solid. There we go. That's it. Get this right up against the edge, right where I want it, and then tighten it down. All right, now I want to bend this out some more. See that the metal is cracked right there, possibly from me working it, or maybe it's already been that way. But now we're looking for this to come this way. So let's see if we can just do it the old-fashioned way. not too bad. Still not perfectly vertical though. That's we'll take a little bit of work on that. Now, I mean, but overall, this this fender is getting closer to closer to workable or usable. Pardon me. All right, so this needs to go this way a little bit more. I think though, part of the problem is here that if I feel around here, let me move the camera right around here. The curve right there is a little bit sharp still. So probably what's going on here is that's why this is moved in a bit, because it actually folded right there. So I probably got to work on that to bring this out some more. I decided I was going to go all in on this foolishness, so I went ahead and made an inside and an outside piece, and just held them together with like a piece of metal, drilled a couple holes through it, turned some screws into it. So that should help to keep them in place. Now I'm gonna just leave this clamp on here, and I'm gonna pry on it to pry it out like this while I work on that section on the outside there, that sharp corner on the curve, to tap that curve out, or tap that sharp corner out. All right, so now everything's in place. I'm gonna pry on this like so, and since I don't have since a hammerhead would have like a square corner on it, I'm not going to use a hammer here. I'm going to use the pipe as my hammer. So here goes.
This part right there. Yep, right there. Okay.
Everything's falling apart. Put that back together. All right, back to it. My pipe hammer. And here we go again. Of course, this is probably going to fall off again. Yep. All right, we'll take a look and see what we got there. All right, so it's time to wrap this up for today. This is 2 Saturdays in a row now, and I've gotten it this far. So let's take a look at it. I decided that it was time to try the filler panel to see how the whole thing lines up from side to side. So, on this side here, it actually looks pretty good. And then we come over here, and we see, it's not quite right. It needs a little more tweaking, but overall, it's a big difference from what it was. And take a look at the outside here. There's a lot of dimples and bumps right here from from all the work that I've been doing on it, and that's something that I'm going to have to work out. But the most important part of this is I just need to straighten it out, take care of the alignment, and then I can start putting it back together for like a complete fit. There's a whole lot of other things to work on the car too. Hey, so we're on the 3rd Saturday now for reshaping these fenders. So let me show you where we are, and we can continue. So here you can see the driver's side fender. This was all smushed in, got that fixed. It aligns nicely with the filler panel. This is just hanging here by a couple of bolts, and we're just checking the alignment. And here's the passenger side. Much better than it was. This was even worse than driver's side. It's still not quite right. There's some work that needs to be done here still. And I noticed when I was looking at it earlier that there's a slight buckle right here, and that buckle tells me that this is still pushed inside a bit. So I guess what happened is it's probably opened up this curve a bit. We can probably see if we line this up. Yeah, it's probably opened up this curve a bit, which has caused that buckle there. So that still needs to go, you know, down this way. Now I'm doing some sanding here, and the idea is that I want to reveal the high spots so I can work them down. And I see that there's a fairly high, a long arc bump right here, which kind of makes sense based on, you know, the way this was pushed back. And there's even a dip there and a high spot here, right above where the bumper created that crease. High spot right there, and you know, a few up here that are probably a result of, you know, me working on it. So
make it more obvious by sanding them to reveal them.
See, even right there, it's a high spot right there. All right, heating things up again. So I want to use the heel dolly to bridge that on the back side, like so. That's good up there. Still a little high right there.
All right.
Still a bulge right there. That's kind of a little hard to get to because it's inside of a curve like that. And if I keep pounding it, then I'm probably just going to create a bunch of dimples. So I'm going to get this. That's better. High spot right there. Now, if you're wondering why I choked the hammer like this, if you want less force, then, you know, hold it close to the hammer head. If you want more, just hold it back here. So since we're working on some subtleties, I want less force. So let's see. That's better there. Still got a dip right there and a bump there. Let me get something to work on that. Now, there's a high spot right there. That kind of goes both ways. There's a dip right there too. So now I want to, I took that high spot down there, but it's followed by a dip just to the inside. And it's I guess where the fender was folded when it was pushed in, right there, just on the front side of it. So we're going to work that right there. Let me see. Still there, not as pronounced. Still a high spot up there. That's better. Still a little bit right there. Right there. Yeah, that's not bad. That's better. That high spot there. Any more low spots? Since I'm working on, yeah, there's one. Right there. Right there. That's a little better. Followed by some surrounding high spots. There's one. A low spot, rather. Now the high spot right there. There's another high spot right. Well, no, low spot right there. But not quite. That's a little better. I'm not gonna try and work that all the way out because there's high spots on either side of it that need to be taken care of. I rediscovered something from last weekend. Was there's still a bit of a rise right here inside this curve. So what I'm going to do is I found a socket that is a nice fit in there. It's a scrappy old 1/2 inch. So I'm going to use that as my my anvil. So the spot that I want to strike is right here. It's okay up here, but I want to strike right there. So I'm going to lay my socket in there and work it down. That's better. I'm going to reserve fine tuning that though after I get the bulk of it finished, and so I can I can strip the whole thing off and see where all my high and low spots are. But that's better. Now there's a dip right here. Actually, there's a bump right there. Not so much a dip. Yeah, there's a bump right there. You see what the socket does there. Yeah, it's working. Okay. Still a high spot. I think Fender's giving too much. I need a dolly behind that. Right there. Oh yeah, I can see it here. Yeah. Where is it again? Right there. I can't hold this dolly. Arms just aren't long enough. Let's see. Right there. Okay. Let's reevaluate. Yeah, it's high right here. Actually was that was a low spot since we tapped this down. This has come up. That's better up there. Still a little high right there. That's better. Yep, that did it. Okay. That feels better. Still a dip there. Well, maybe not. No, it's actually a high spot right there. Little bit north of that work where I was doing it with the socket. Maybe we can go back to that. Yeah, right there. Right there, it's a small one. Okay. It's just a general dip right there. Have to get that from the inside. Okay, so there's that. Where is it again? There it is right there. That dip that I was talking about. So that's going to be my dolly spot right there. Get them. It seems to be walking. It's up here. Higher now. I think what we're doing is we're just discovering the dip on. Remember, there was that big big dimple right there. This was all pushed in, and there was a crease right here. That's what we're working on. So now it looks like we've got decent alignment here where the filler panel meets the fender, and you know, a lot of the worst of the big bumps are down, but I really want to check with my templates to see you know, how I've done there. So let's start with whether or not this is straight, and it looks like it is. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Now, let's take our templates, and I'm going to start with, no, that's the 1.5. Let's see, bottom one, here we are. Okay, no, this way. We don't have the lines on this side, so, but it looks like, you know, I don't see any gaps here. I see a little bit of a bulge here and a bit of a very small gap right there. Might need to do some work on that, but I think what happened there is there's a little bit of a crack right there that needs to be addressed. And then let's see, the 1.5 inch, up 1.5 inch. So we got, looks like we have a fairly long gap right there. It's touching here, but you know, it kind of makes sense that this area here took a lot of abuse, so the metal here is probably stretched. So let's take a look at the, no, I'm sorry, this was the baseline. Got this backwards. Yeah, that's good. Now, I want the 4.25 inch piece. So we're gonna line it up with that hole right there, and take a look. It's not that bad, although, see, I don't see any gaps here all the way out to here until we get to up front here, and there's a gap there. And what's going on here is this whole area is stretched, and the whole area is come out a bit. So I'm not gonna, I have the alignment for the filler panel good now, but I'm not gonna address this any further, because I think what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna have to use a combination of, you know, heat, my shrinking disc. It's gonna be a long, tedious thing to, you know, to bring this down, and it's not up by much. We're probably talking, you know, a 1/16 of an inch. But so far I would say that, okay, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. And, you know, if you like what you saw, then subscribe and, you know, hit the notification bell, and you'll get a notification when the next one comes out. Alrighty, so now let's check the alignment on the filler panel to the fender after the fenders are fixed. So if we take a look here, you can see the fender. Let me get some light on this situation now. So you can see where the fender work was done. And now the filler panel lines up correctly. And we go over to this side, and this is where the major difference was. This was pretty badly damaged, so the alignment is good now, and the outside of the fender is much better.